on, traders? Zach here from the Trading Network. Hope you guys are doing well and that everybody had a good holiday. I've got another daily market profile recap for you. And because we have a short week this week, doing less trading overall because we typically have less volume and less liquidity overall when we have a holiday week or a week leading up to a holiday. So with that said, let's dive right into today's trade plan. This morning I was looking at the following key levels: 37.47.75, which was the overnight high from the prior or the most recent overnight session; 37.44.25, which was the overnight point of control; 37.32.25, which was the range high from yesterday's regular trading hours session; and 37.16, which was the range low from yesterday's regular trading hours session. Now, we didn't have any overall high impact news events, and we did, we're obviously still working through that stimulus situation, and I believe the $2,000 bill was rejected today, so still really no conclusion on that. So as far as the summary goes, overnight inventory was net long once again, which means that the majority of the overnight price action was above settlement price from yesterday's session. And we were looking to open above range and value from the last several sessions, which means if I go over to the profile here, it means that we were looking to open above the range, okay, and above the value area. So if I zoom in here, you can see the value area on this particular chart from previous session is 37.24 to 37.31. So when I say we're looking to open above range and value, that means we're looking to open above previous range, which is in this case 37.16 to 32.25, and then the value area here, which is where 70% of the session's trading activity has taken place. So we actually opened up here, right around this area at 37.44.25, right around the overnight point of control and the overnight volume point of control right there, that cyan volume bar. So we did indeed open above range and value. And going back to the trade plan here, you can see that opening above range and value means that there is a higher probability of directional conviction to develop and a lower probability of ranging price action. So today I was looking for price to hold above the overnight point of control that we just looked at 37.44. Give you guys another look at that right here, 37.44.25 to be exact. And if we could hold above that level and use that as support, I was going to be looking to take long scalps towards that overnight high at 37.47. This is actually a typo. So overnight high was 37.47.75, so just a few points above that overnight POC. And scrolling down here, the downside scenario that I was looking at, if we could not hold that level upon open, I was going to look for shorts towards yesterday's range high at 37.32.25, which you can see right here, 37.32.25, and ultimately lower, looking at the rest of our targets. So looking at the summary here, I was again thinking that if we could move and hold above 37.44, that we were going to be targeting 37.47.75, which was the range high. And the next upside targets I had were actually based off of VWAP levels. So I use the VWAP with standard deviations of VWAP, as you can see here. So right here, what I have highlighted is this is VWAP itself. You can see VWAP is red when price is below VWAP, which we have been for quite some time, and VWAP is green when price is above it. So my targets were the next higher VWAP levels. So a little bit different at the moment. You can see 49.25. Now it's moved up, or actually this Fibonacci pivot has kind of taken place. So the Fibonacci pivot is actually where the second upper deviation of VWAP was earlier this morning. You can see this VWAP deviation has come down a little bit because price has moved down so much, and as obviously price moves down, the VWAP is going to shift with it. So my higher targets, again, let me see if I can pull up my trade plan here. Beautiful. So let's see, I'm just going to try to shrink this a tiny bit. All right, so my further upside targets, just to reiterate here, were based on VWAP deviations. Again, when we're at all-time high, blue sky breakout status, as we say, there's really not a lot to go off of other than measured moves and deviations and things like Fibonacci pivots. So you can see we have not broken the highs. So at the moment we have Fibonacci pivots up here. We have R3 at 37.62. We have the third upper deviation of VWAP at 37.55. We've got R2 at 37.49, and then we have the second upper deviation at 46. So that one, this is obviously all-time high right here. So these here would be targets that I'm looking at if we break the all-time high or the overnight high. So don't want to go on too much of a tangent there, but this is how I determine those higher targets. I don't just pull them out of thin air. I use measured moves. That last target, that 57 target, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was the third upper deviation of VWAP, and you can see that price moved down so much. So as price moves down, the VWAP is going to move down as well. So I use a VWAP based on the full session, so I get a new VWAP with deviations forming every session. So you can see if I zoom way in here that I have a tiny little VWAP opening up. This obviously is right at open here, so this will expand and begin to give me good levels to take trades off of, and good areas to give me information in relation to how extended price is from the mean. So with that said, let's go back over to the profile here, and I'm going to pull up the trade plan once more, just make sure that the summary is showing so you guys can see a little bit more of this stuff. All right, so I'll try to make it work like this. All right, and let's go through targets here. All right, so we just discussed the upside targets, so let's go over the downside targets. The upside targets, again, just to reiterate one more time, aside from this 47.75 level, we're all based on VWAP deviations and or Fibonacci pivots. So don't have any profile levels because we've never been up there. With that said, the downside targets were from the line in the sand here. This was the line in the sand. So this was the overnight POC. You can see I have it labeled right here, the overnight POC, 37.44.25. And my thought process was if we could not hold above that level, which we did not, we basically opened here, moved above, tested very briefly, and then proceeded to move down. And we spent basically all of our time below 37.44 today. So that was a great line in the sand level that I'm really happy with selecting, and we got really good trade opportunity off that. As soon as this level broke, you could have faded it to the overnight value area low and lower. And you can see here, this was my first downside target, 37.32, as you guys can see here, 37.32.25 to be precise. That was yesterday's range high from the regular trading hour session. Let me delete some of these arrows here, clean it up a little bit. All right, so now that we got that taken care of, downside target number one hit pretty quickly in the initial balance in B period, to be precise. We got that move from 44.25 right down to yesterday's range high. Second downside target was 37.27 even. 37.27 even was yesterday's point of control right here. You guys can see this yellow line right here. So point of control lined up very nicely with the previous overnight high, 26.50. So I like that area quite a bit for second downside target. So just for kind of like a real-time or real-life example, if you will, I just noticed that this was labeled incorrectly. So let me just fix that real quick. All right, so just as a real-life example, so if you're using these trade plans, if you're in our Facebook group, you could, for instance, be looking at this level and short the break of 32 down to 27 once you see this level is broken and used as resistance. So let's see if we go to the regular chart here. Here's a beautiful example. So again, we have fib pivot R1 lining up with this prior range high, prior value high area right here. And once you see this level or this area, you could draw a zone here, whatever. Once you see this area deemed as resistance where we cannot break above it, several tests failing to break above it and then proceeding to make lower highs, you can then short this level And if you have our indicator package, you can then use the opportunity zone to continue to ride this downtrend, which is essentially just selling the tests of the op zone over and over again until it stops working. And you can see that I already have this divergence marked here from conversation that we were having in the Discord channel. And that's really how I would play this, or how you can play this if you're using these levels from our trade plans every day. So going back to the profile here, let's go through the rest of these downside targets. So next target after 37.27 even was 37.24 even. 37.24 even was the value area low from yesterday. You can see that right here. And it also matched up with the value area high from the overnight session of December 27th into December 28th. So a lot of confluence at that level, and another good spot to use as a target. If you're taking the break at 32 to the downside, you got really nice targets from previous profile levels right there. Next downside target you can see was 37.16. So you can see that these downside targets are pretty far spread out because we've been moving up so quickly, and our value areas and our POCs have been moving up very orderly, that my thought at least was, if we started to break down and change behavior and get POCs moving down, that we were going to be seeing a revisit of at least this overnight high, and likely, if we broke that, down into these levels. And that's why I'm using them as my targets. So my second to last downside target was 37.16, which was yesterday's. Let me make this a little bit clear here. So this was yesterday's low. So yesterday's low was my second to last downside target. You can see here, 37.16, and that ended up being very, very close to today's low as well. So we got down to 37.1450 in today's session. So my final downside target was actually the 37.09 level. You can see back here we have 37.09, which was the point of control from the December 17th session. And I like that area because this was a spot that we hadn't really visited since earlier in last week's session. And this was an area that I thought that we were going to likely move to if we broke and held below this level right here. So you can see that we also have an overnight point of control from that 27th into 28th session. So we have this overnight POC, overnight VPOC, which is this light blue line, that cyan line right there, confluent with yesterday's low. And again, that's why that was my second to last target. So that one got hit. So just to reiterate, we had 37.16 hit as our second to last target. We had 37.24 hit. We had 37.27 hit, yesterday's POC. We had 37.3225 hit, which was yesterday's high. And the line in the sand, 37.4425. High of the day, 37.4625. We could not even get up to the overnight high. When you see price open, probe up to a level, struggle to reach a prior high, moving over to the regular chart, you guys can see that here. Here's R2. We struggled significantly to get back above or to this level upon open. You can see right here is the open. This is what I have highlighted here is the New York opening 1 minute range. So price opened, probed up here to 46, got quickly rejected, could not even get back above that overnight POC. And if we zoom in here, you guys can see how beautiful of a rejection it actually was at that level. Very, very orderly. So when you see price come up, I mean, to the tick, that's not a coincidence. When you see price reject a level like that and just absolutely melt, that's telling you something. That's telling you that there is a lot of resting liquidity. This is basically getting ready for distribution, absorbing orders to distribute for a downwards move. And that's what we got for majority of the day. Obviously, it looks like we leveled off a little bit down here around prior range low, but that was essentially the day today. And for a day where there was relatively low volume, we usually are doing over 1 million contracts, 1.2, etc. in regular trading hours. There was good opportunity, and price was pretty orderly, honestly. So once again, use these profile levels from the trade plans that we release to your advantage. Use them as kind of like a domino effect. If you see price fail to hold above a range high, watch for short opportunity. Watch your other tools to say, hey, maybe we should get short here and ride this downwards move, this downtrend, until we get a change of behavior here, until we see something like divergence and then, consecutive higher lows, something like that. So this is how I trade these levels, and this is how I suggest that you guys start experimenting with them, because you can get really, really high trade probability and a ton of trade opportunity just marking these profile levels and watching how price reacts to them. So if you guys are enjoying these market profile videos, these daily recaps, the weekly forecasts, etc., please feel free to like and subscribe. It really does make a difference. In addition to that, for those of you who are not already in our free Facebook group, check out the links in the description below where you can find access to that group, and you can join and get these trade plans every day, Monday through Friday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, right around New York Open. We also release them for NQ for those of you guys who trade NQ futures as well. With that said, in addition to the free trade plans, you can also find access to our website in the description below, where you can get information on one-on-one mentorship with me. You can get access to these proprietary indicators, including the opportunity zone, which you saw here in this video. You can also get information on the fundamentals of futures trading course, which is our comprehensive course that goes over the opportunity zone strategy. In addition to that, it also goes over a ranging strategy called the momentum flip. And these strategies are for varying market conditions. In addition to those things, we also offer a private Discord server where I trade every day, Monday through Friday, starting at New York Open, and our group members can watch me trade every day. And you can also join, you can mic up, and you can ask me questions live while I trade. It's a two-way chat, and you guys can interact with me directly and trade with me, essentially. So if you guys are interested in any of that, again, check the description below. Feel free to leave a comment if you have any questions, or if you have any questions, join the Facebook group, reach out to me directly, shoot me a message. I'm always around. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch these videos. I appreciate you being a part of the trading network, and I will see you in the next video.